Hello all, hope you're having a fabulous day. My name is Reggie, and today I will be sharing with you my April wrap-up. In April, I read 12 books, which is really great. It's not as great as it sounds like though, because 3 were children's books and 1 was a graphic novel, but I'm still really happy with it. At the beginning of the month, I really considered this to be an off reading month, and I didn't feel like I was reading very much. And I was like, man, this is gonna be such a weak wrap up, and now that's not the case anymore. And I have audiobooks to thank so much for that because I've listened to so many books on audiobook this month. The first book I read in April is Through the Evernight by Veronica Rossi. This is the second book in the Under the Never Sky trilogy, and I liked the first book. I read it maybe in January, I think, and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. And this book did not enjoy as much. It really annoyed me. The characters, I felt, were just very different than they were portrayed in the first book, and I didn't get on board with that change. So I ended up giving this book 3 out of 5 stars. And I did listen to that on audiobook right after. I jumped right into the audiobook for Into the Stale Blue, which is the 3rd and final book in the Through the Evernight trilogy by Veronica Rossi. And I did not like this book. I did not like this conclusion. I gave this book 2 out of 5 stars. There were a couple of things in this book that really, really annoyed me, and the things that I didn't like in the second book carried over and become much worse in this book, and I'm just not a fan. I think the characterizations are just off from what we've gotten. I feel like there was some emotional manipulation and some spots that we just had something happen just because, and then it was taken away and it was like, oh, never mind, that didn't happen. I just really don't like that. I was really bummed because I thought I would love the series. Everyone's told me this is this kind of series I would love, and it wasn't. I love the first book, but that's about it. And that makes me really sad because I know a lot of you guys love the series so much, so I'm sorry. After that, I read the Paper Girls Volume 1 trade paperback. This is a graphic novel written by Brian K. Vaughan, which, if you guys have been on my channel for any amount of time, you probably know Brian K. Vaughan is my favorite graphic novel author. He is the author of Saga, Why the Last Man, Pride of Baghdad, etc. These girls are on a paper route in the 80s and crazy weird things go down. It was very fun, very interesting, not at all what I expected from giving the synopsis before these graphic novels came out. But I did love it still, so I give it 4 out of 5 stars. Like I said, it's not what I expected, and it got a little weirder than I thought it was going to, but it was still really good. I love the art style, I love the coloring, and I just love how the girls look. I'm just a big fan. Next up, I read Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover, and Ugly Love is the story of a girl who moves from, I believe, Southern California to Northern California to pursue nursing school. She finds that she has chemistry with one of her neighbors, but he doesn't want to have a real relationship, so they end up doing a friends with benefit relationship. And I've heard so many great things about this book. So many people say this is their favorite Colleen Hoover book. This is the first Colleen Hoover book I've actually disliked. I adamantly disliked this book. It made me really sad because I was buddy reading this with Amber from Currently Amber, and I felt like I was just texting her so many times being like, I hated this part, I hated this moment, I hated this thing. I really disliked Tate, who was the female character, and the words she said and how she didn't really seem like a strong character. She didn't have a spine. She used the metaphor that I am liquid around him a lot, and she acted like liquid. She acted like she wasn't a person, like she had no agency besides being attracted to this guy. It was just so awful. Some of the lines were so atrocious. I was not a fan. I did give this 2 out of 5 stars because this did get me out of that reading slump I had been all month. So I can always count on Colleen Hoover to get me out of a slump. This still was a quick read. I just really hated it. Next up, I listened to Walk on Earth a Stranger by Rae Carson. If you guys don't know, Rae Carson is one of my favorite authors. She's the best, and this book was no exception to that. This is kind of a historical fiction type story with a bit of fantasy elements thrown in. Leah lives in the South, and she has these like powers where she can sense gold. This is during the time of the gold rush. So her parents get murdered, and she has a feeling it's about her being able to sense gold. She disguises herself up as a guy and goes on a trail to California during the gold rush, and it is her journey to getting there and running away from the person who killed her parents and all of this stuff. I absolutely love this book. It dealt with so many great things. I'm not going to talk about it too much here because I am doing an entire review on this book because I loved it so much. highly recommend it. I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars. And I did also listen to Walk on Earth a Stranger as an audiobook. Then I picked up The Wide Window by Lemony Snicket, which is the third book in the series of Unfortunate Events. Again, listen to this on an audiobook. These books are so quick to get through, and I enjoyed it so much. I again gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. I think these are really fun, cute stories. I'm really sad that I didn't read them when I was a kid. I know I would have loved them. But this one held a lot of the charm that the others did, and I enjoyed it not quite as much as the first one, but more than the second, so good spot. Then I listened to You by Caroline Kepnes. This book is freaking creepy, you guys. This is about basically a stalker, and it's told in his perspective, and it is so interesting, but so creepy. And I gave this 3 out of 5 stars. I don't know if I really loved it because it was just so outside of my comfort zone and just not what I expected, I guess. But there was a lot of shock value. It was very interesting. Basically, this book is just so creepy and I couldn't get on board with it, but I did appreciate so much what it did, and what it did, I believe it did so right, so I give it like a 3.5 stars. And I also listened to that on audiobook, which I highly recommend if you plan on picking up this book. The audiobook is definitely the way to go. And then I picked up another audiobook, Are We Surprised? This time I picked up The Miserable Mill, which is the 4th book in the series of Unfortunate Events. I did not like this one as much as the other. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. I think this one lacked a lot of the charm and intrigue that the other books had. Right. Then I finally picked up a physical book in the month, and this was Blue Lily, Lily Blue by Maggie Stiefvater, which I adored. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. I like this a lot more than The Dream Thieves, which so far has been my least favorite in the series, not by a lot. I think the beginning was a little slow, but the ending was so jam-packed, and usually I don't enjoy that formula, but with Maggie's writing, it always works for me. I just love these books so much, and I'm so excited to read The Raven King next, which I will, I'm so excited. Next, I picked up Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albert Halley. I absolutely adored this book, you guys. I'm going to be reviewing it too because it's so good. I know this book got so much hype when it came out, so well deserved, but I want to make sure people who didn't read it when it came out know that it's so good. I give this 5 out of 5 stars. This is about a boy, Simon, who is gay but hasn't come out yet, and he is basically being blackmailed into helping a person, you know, get together with this girl. He's being blackmailed, and it's his journey through trying to figure out what he wants to do, if he wants to come out, how he's going to deal with this blackmail. It's just his story in general, and it's so good. The writing is beautiful. Simon's character is perfect. Then I listened to another audiobook, and this was The Great and Terrible Beauty by Libba Bray. This was one of those books that I never thought I would really enjoy, so I just never listened to it, but I love Libba Bray so much. I love the Diviners, at least. And I heard so many great reviews from people who suggested I read it, and so I listened to it on audiobook. And I hated this book. I don't think I've disliked a book as much as I dislike this book in a really long time. So I'm sorry if this is one of your favorite books. I'm really sorry, but I hated this book. And I had only heard so many good things about these books that I was getting really worried that I was just crazy until Trina from Between Chapters posted her series review. Then I felt so much better that I'm not alone in having the issues I had with this book, because they are real and legitimate issues, and I just did not enjoy this book. So Trina, thank you so much for posting your series review, because I felt so alone for a little bit there. But I gave this book 2 out of 5 stars. I did not like it, and I will not be continuing on with the series. It doesn't change anything about how I feel about Libba Bray. I still love her Diviner series. I'll still try other books she's written, and just this series, I can't do it. And the final book I listened to on audiobook, yes, another audiobook, in April is the 5th book in the Lemony Snicket series of Unfortunate Events series, and that was the Sto Academy, I believe. And this book brought back all the charm that I felt was missing in the previous series of Unfortunate Events book. It was so much better than I expected. It still wasn't what the first 3 books were. It was so much better than the last book. I ended up giving this 4 out of 5 stars. They're so enjoyable and so quick and fun and cute. And I say fun and cute even though they're dark and depressing, but you know. those are all of the books I read in the month of April. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, you should give it a thumbs up. You should tell me what your favorite book you read in the month is down below. I really can't pick between Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda and Walk on Earth a Stranger. Both my favorite books I read this month. So good. Favorites of the year for sure. And if you haven't already, you should subscribe. I will see you in my next video. Bye!